Dexter, we're monogamous. Number, we're not. The hell do you mean we're not? Since when are we not? Dexter moved away from the table and grabbed a new beer from the fridge. Mia, are you messing with me right now? Me? Messing with you? You're the one who's texting in front of my face. This whole thing blew up when I saw him message someone with a heart emoji, and it definitely wasn't his mom. Dexter's defense was that he was just texting his secondary, some girl named Sunny that I was supposed to know about. Mia, why are you being like this? Like what? We've had this arrangement for over 2 years. What arrangement? It was crazy talk. I couldn't believe he had the balls to pretend this was normal. I don't remember ever discussing a secondary person, or whatever this is. He drank his beer, staring with his characteristic half-closed eyes, as if I had done something to bore or annoy him. Do you want me to get the contract? What contract? The contract that we wrote together, that you signed. I was more confused than ever. Sure, yes. Bring out the contract. Wordlessly, he went into his room. I could hear him pull out drawers and shuffle through papers. I swirled my finger over top of my wine glass, wondering if this was some stupid prank his friends egged him into doing. Any minute now he was going to come out with a bouquet and sheepishly yell, "April Fools!" And then I was going to ream him out because this whole gag had been unfunny and demeaning and stupid. But instead, he came out with a sheet of paper. It looked like a contract. Our polyamory relationship parties involved Dexter, boyfriend; Mia, primary girlfriend; Sunny, secondary girlfriend; date. Redacted, respect the hierarchy. Dexter and Mia are primary partners, meaning their relationship takes priority in major life decisions, living arrangements, rent, etc. Dexter and Sunny share a secondary relationship. They reserve the right to see each other as long as it does not conflict with the primary relationship. All parties recognize that this is an open, ethical, non-monogamous relationship with mutual respect. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw my signature at the bottom. My curlicue L looked pretty much spot on, but I didn't remember signing this at all. Dexter. I struggled to find the right word. His face looked unamused, as if he was getting tired of my kidding around. Dexter, I'm sorry, I don't remember signing this. He rolled his eyes. Mia, come on. I'm being serious. This isn't... I couldn't have signed this. Couldn't have? His sigh turned frustrated. Listen, if this is your way of renegotiating, that's fine. We can have a meeting. I'm always open to discussion. But there's no reason to diss Sunny like that. I was shocked at how defensive he was. Dexter, I'm not trying to diss anyone. I'm not lying. I swear on my mom's grave, my own grave, I do not remember Sunny at all. He looked at me with a frown and shook his head, more disappointed than anything. Listen, we can have a meeting tomorrow. Just stop pretending you don't know her. I didn't want to prod the bear, so I laid off him the rest of the evening. We finished our drinks, watched some TV, then we went to sleep. The following morning, Dexter dropped our weekend plans and made a reservation at a local sushi restaurant. Sunny was going to meet us there at noon for a renegotiation. I didn't know what to think. Over breakfast, I made a few delicate inquiries over Sunny, but Dexter was still quite offended. Apparently, this had been something all three of us had wanted. All three of us? I found it hard to believe, but did not push it any further. Instead, I scrounged through the photos on my phone, where I immediately noticed something was wrong. There was a new woman in all of them. It was hard to explain. It's like someone had individually doctored all my old photos to suddenly fit an extra person into each one. It was unsettling to say the least. Dexter and I had this one iconic photo from our visit to the epic suspension bridge, where we were holding a small kiss at the end of the bridge. We occupied most of the frame. Except now, when I looked at the photo, somehow there was this shadowy, taller woman behind both of us. She had her hands across both of our waists and was blowing a kiss towards the camera. Who the hell? She was in nearly every photo. Evenings out at restaurants, family gatherings, board game nights, weddings, even in photos from our vacations, Milan, Rome. She even fucking joined us inside the Sistine Chapel. The strangest part was her look. I'm not going to beat around the bush. This was some kind of photoshopped model, like a Kylie Jenner, Kardashian type. It felt like some influencer-turned-actress-turned-philanthropist just so happened to bump into two bland Canadians. It didn't look real. The photos were too perfect. There wasn't a single one where she had half her eyes closed or was caught mid-laugh or anything. It's like she had rehearsed a pose for each one. The whole vibe was disturbing. I wanted to confront Dexter the moment I saw this woman, this succubus, this whatever she was. But he went for a bike ride to clear his head. It was very typical of him to avoid confrontation. Originally, he was supposed to come back, and then we'd both head to the restaurant together. But he didn't come back. Dexter texted me instead to come meet him at the restaurant, that he'll be there waiting. What the fuck was going on? The restaurant was a Japanese omakase bar, small venue, no windows. This was one of our favorite places because it wasn't too overpriced, but still had a classy vibe. I felt a little betrayed that we were using my favorite date night restaurant for something so auxiliary. My sense of betrayal ripened further when I arrived 10 minutes early, only to see Dexter already at the table. And he was sitting next to her. If you could call it sitting, it almost looked like he was kneeling, holding both of her hands, as if he had been sharing the deepest, most important secrets of his life for the last couple hours. I could hear the faint echo of his whisper as I walked in. So glad this could work out this way. For a moment I wanted to turn away. How long have they been here? Is this an ambush? But then Sunny spotted me from across the restaurant. Mia, over here. Her wide eyes glimmered in the restaurant's soft lighting, zeroing in on me like a hawk. Somehow her words traveled 30 feet without her having to raise her voice. Mia, join us. I walked up feeling a little sheepish but refusing to let it show. I wore what my friends often called my resting defiant face, which can apparently look quite intimidating. Come sit. Sunny patted the open space to her left. Her nails had to be at least an inch long. I smiled and sat on Dexter's right. Sunny cut right to it. So, Dexter says you've been having trouble in your relationship? It was hard to look her in the eyes. Staring at her seemed strangely entrancing. The word tunnel vision immediately came to mind, as if the world around Sunny was merely an echo to her reverberating bell. Trouble? Number Dex and I are doing great. I turned to face Dexter, who looked indifferent as usual. I wouldn't say there's any trouble. I meant in your relationship to our agreement. Sunny's smoky voice lingered one each word. Dexter says you're trying to back out of it? I poured myself a cup of the green tea to busy myself, anything to avert her gaze. However, as soon as I brought the ceramic cup to my lips, I reconsidered. Am I even sure this drink is safe? I cleared my throat and did my best to find a safe viewing angle of Sunny. As long as I looked away between sentences, it seemed like the entrancing tunnel vision couldn't take hold. Listen, I'm just going to be honest. It's very nice to meet you, Sunny. You look like a very nice person. But I don't know you, like at all. Don't know me? When I glanced over, Sunny was suddenly backlit, like one of the restaurant lamps had lowered itself to make her hair look glowing. Of course you know me. We've known each other since high school. As soon as she said the words, I got a migraine. Worse yet, I suddenly remembered things. I suddenly remembered the time we were at our grade 11 theater camp where I had been paired up with Sunny for almost every assignment. We had laughed at each other in improv and belted from our belts in singing. Our final mini-project was a duologue, and we were assigned Romeo and Juliet. I can still feel the warmness of her hand during the rehearsal, the small of her back, her young, gorgeous smile which has only grown kinder with age. It was there, during our improvised dance scene between Romeo and Juliet, where I had my first urge to kiss her. And even after high school, Sunny continued, looking at me with her perfectly tweezed brows. Are you saying you forgot our whole trip through Europe? Bright purple lights, music festival, Belgium. I was doing a lot more than just kissing Sunny. Some of these dance floors apparently let just about anything happen. My mind was assaulted with salacious imagery, breasts, thighs, a throbbing want in my entire body. I had seen all of Sunny, and she had seen all of me. We've been romantically entwined for ages. We might have been on and off for a couple years, but she was always there for me. She would always be there for me. I smacked my plate, trying to mentally fend off the onslaught of so much imagery. It's not real. It feels real. But it's not real. It can't be real. Well? Dexter asked. He was offering me some of his dynamite roll. When did we order food? I politely declined and cleared my throat. There was still enough of me that knew Sunny was manifesting something. Somehow she was warping past events in my head. I forcibly stared at the empty plate beneath me. I don't know what's going on, but both Dexter and I are leaving. Dexter scoffed. Leaving? I don't think so. No one's leaving until you tell us what's wrong. Sunny's smoky voice sounded more alluring the longer I wasn't looking. That's how our meetings are supposed to work, remember? I could tell she was trying to draw my gaze, but I wasn't having it. I slid off my seat in one quick movement. Dexter grabbed my wrist. Hey! I wrenched my hand. Let go! We struggled for a few seconds before Sunny stood up and assertively pronounced, "Darlings, please, there is no need for this to be embarrassing." Dexter let go. I took this as an opening and backed away from the booth. And what a booth it was. The lighting was picture perfect. Sunny had the most artistically pleasing arrangement of sushi rolls I'd ever seen. Seaweed, rice, and sashimi, arranged in flourishes that would have made Wes Anderson melt in his seat. I turned and bolted. "Mia!" Dexter yelled. At the door, I pulled the handle and ran outside. Only I didn't enter the outside lobby. I entered the same sushi restaurant again. The hell? I turned around and looked behind me. There was Sunny sitting in her booth. And then I looked ahead, back in front. Sunny, sitting in her booth. A mirror copy? The door opened both ways into the same restaurant. What the? I tried to look for any other exit. I ran along the left side of the wall away from Sunny's booth towards the washroom. There had to be a back exit somewhere. I found the washrooms, the kitchen, and the staff rooms, but none of the doors would open. It's like they were all glued shut. What's going on? What is this? Wiping my tears, I wandered back into the restaurant, realizing in shock that we were the only patrons here. We were the only people here. Everything was totally empty, except for Sunny's beautifully lit booth. She watched me patiently with a smile. What is happening? There was no use hiding the fear in my voice. What is happening is that we need to renegotiate. Sunny cleared some food from the center of the table and presented a paper contract. Relationship with Sunny parties involved. Primary girlfriend, Sunny. Primary boyfriend, Dexter. Secondaries, Mia, Maxine, Jasper, Theo, Victor, Noe, Mateo, Claudine. Tertiaries, see Appendix B. Date, redacted, the changeover. Mia will be given 30 days to find new accommodations. Dexter recommends returning to her parents' place. In the meantime, Mia is allowed to keep any and all of her original possessions. My jaw dropped. What the fuck? Avoiding Sunny's gaze, I instead turned to Dexter, who stared at me with a loosely apologetic frown. Dexter, what is all this? It is saying I have to move? We just moved in together like 6 months ago. You can't be serious. He cleared his throat and flattened his shirt across his newly formed pecs and six-pack. What is going on? I am serious, Mia. I've done some thinking. You don't have what I want. There was some kind of aura exuding from Dexter now. He looked cleaner and better shaven than before. His cheekbones might have even been higher, too. I didn't know how much this had to do with Sunny's influence, but I tried to see past it. I spoke to him as the boyfriend I had dated for over 2 years. Dexter, listen to me. I'm telling it to you straight as it is. Something's fucked. Don't follow Sunny. I pointed at her without turning a glance. You are like ensorcelled or something. If you care at all about yourself, your well-being, your future, just leave. This is not worth it. This isn't even about me anymore. Your life is at risk here. Sunny laughed a rich, lugubrious laugh, and then drank some elaborate cocktail in the corner of my eye. Well, I want to stay with her, Dexter said, and you need to sign to make that happen. His finger planted itself on the contract. Dexter, you can't stay. If you don't sign... Sunny's smoky voice traveled right up to both my ears, as if she was whispering into both at the same time. You can never leave. Suddenly, all the lamps in the restaurant went out, all the lamps except our booths. It's like we were featured in some commercial. Sunny stared at me with completely black eyes. No iris, no sclera, pure obsidian. Sign it. All around me was pitch darkness. Was I even in a restaurant anymore? A cold, stifling tightness caused my back to shiver. I signed on the dotted line. My curlicue L never looked better. Good. Sunny snatched the page away, vanishing it somewhere behind her back. She smiled and sipped from her drink. You know, Mia, I don't think Dexter has ever loved you to begin with. Let's be honest. Her all-black eyes found mine again. I was flooded with more memories. Dexter forgetting our anniversary, his inappropriate joke by my dad's hospital bed, the time he compared my cooking to a toddler's in front of my entire family. My headache started to throb. In response, I unzipped my purse and pulled out my pepper spray. I maced the fuck out of Sunny. The yellow spray shot her right in the face. She screamed and turned away. Dexter grabbed my arm. I grabbed his in return. Now, Dexter, let's get out of here. Forget Sunny. Fuck this contract. But he wrestled my hand and pried the pepper spray from my fingers. His chiseled jawline abruptly disappeared. He looked upset. His face was flush with shock and disappointment. I can't believe you, Mia. Pepper spray? Are you serious? Suddenly the lights were back, and we weren't alone in the restaurant. The patrons around me looked stupefied by my behavior. People around began to cough and waft the spray away from their table. I stepped back from our booth, which looked the same as the other booths. Sunny was keeled over in her seat, gagging and trying to clear her throat. A waiter shuffled over to our table, asking what had happened. A child across from us began to cry. I tore away and sprinted out the doors. This time I had no trouble entering the lobby. This time I had no trouble escaping back outside. I moved away from Dexter the next day, told my family it was an emergency. They asked if he was being abusive, if I should involve the police in the situation. I said no, because it wasn't quite exactly like that. I didn't know exactly what was going on, except that I needed to get away. I just wanted to go. After that evening, 30 months of relationship had just gone up in smoke. All my memories of Dexter were now terrible. I figured some of them had to be true. He was far from the perfect boyfriend. But for all of them to be rotten? That couldn't be right. Why would I have been with someone for so long if they were so awful? In the effort of maintaining my self-respect, I convinced myself that Dexter was a good guy, that his image had been slandered by Sunny, which is still the only explanation I have, that she had altered my memories of him. I'm sorry I couldn't help you, Dexter, but the situation was beyond me. I hope you're able to find your own way out of it, too. There's nothing else I can do. Although I've distanced myself away from Dexter and moved back in with my parents in a completely different part of the city, I still haven't been able to shake Sunny. She still texts me. She keeps asking to meet up. Apparently we're due for a catch-up. I see her randomly in coffee shops and food courts, but I always pack up and leave. I don't know who or what she is, but every time I see her, I get flooded with more bogus romantic events of our shared past. Our trip to Nicaragua, our skiing staycation, our St. Patrick's Day at the beach. It's reached a point where I can tell the memories are fake by the sheer volume. There's no way I would have had the time, not to mention the money, to go to half these places I'm suddenly remembering. So I'm saving up to move away. Thanks to my family lineage, I have an Italian passport. I'm going to try and restart my life somewhere around Florence, but who knows? I might even move to Spain or France. I know it's a big sudden change, but after these last couple months, I really need a way to reclaim myself. I just want my own life and my own inside my head back. I want to start making memories that I know are real. Places I've been to, people I've seen. I want memories that belong to no one else but me.